Aries, or Jupiter in Cancer, no more blocks, deep dive video. We go back to when Jupiter moved into Cancer on the 9th of June 2025. A lot of people trumpeted it was going to be a brilliant, fortuitous transit because Jupiter is in its exaltation in the nurturing sign of Cancer. I cautioned at the time that wasn't the case. The event chart which welcomed Jupiter was truly challenging. Fast forwards over those last 12 months, lots of people have shared with me their disappointment of Jupiter in Cancer. I want to reassure you that the rest of June provides an enormous opportunity to overcome those blocks and inhibitions and frustrations that came up over the last year. By the end of the video, you'll have a clear picture of what's upcoming for the rest of June in terms of your energy, work, relationships, or finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. On the screen is the event chart for when Jupiter arrived last year. So Jupiter does love being in Cancer, but the exaltation there is much more to do with its rulership of the sign of Pisces, which is very much to do with faith. Both water signs, Jupiter's expansion is to do with learning more knowledge about our inner needs, our need for protectiveness, security, to be very close to the people that are truly meaningful. And with Mercury laying in wait for Jupiter, a lovely combination if you've been involved in a home business, but there are some provisos. Not least if we look at the position of your ruler Mars. Yes, very charismatic in Leo, but in a harsh right angle with Uranus. If you have made some impulsive spending decisions about a property, a rental or purchase, or a home improvement over the last year, that may have caused some issues. But it's Saturn and Neptune early in the sign of Aries, which really caused the mischief. Saturn is about limitation and retraction, and Jupiter is about expansion. They have very different energies. So the fact that they're in a square, but both in cardinal signs, creates a celestial arm wrestle where no one really wins. Also, we have Saturn in a square with Mercury, which actually can lower our emotional vitality and see us be a bit glum and maybe view our glass as being half empty. Also, Neptune in a conjunction with Saturn, a big impact on everyone's physical vitality, or at least drawing in the energy of the world at large and finding some of what we're reading about really very testing indeed. But Neptune in a square with Mercury really distorting, and we know that not everything that's fed through the news is fact. And then we've got Neptune in a square with Jupiter. Yes, that can be good in a natal chart. Uh, Jupiter and Neptune influences can really give people an interest in personal development and any kind of spiritual or healing dimension, but the square is much more challenging. So those influences really made the very start of Jupiter's journey not the best. Now, the other planet of fortune, Venus, was at home at the time and in a lovely sextile with Jupiter and also Mercury. But look at the position of Pluto. Pluto was in a quincunx with these guys and squaring up with Venus. And Pluto's in that part of the overall chart for us all at the moment where big changes are going on, especially around technology and communication, which is having an impact on our peace of mind, our sense of security. Now, if we fast forwards to this week on June the 9th, how about that for synchronicity? The same day that Jupiter arrived, we have Venus and Jupiter in a conjunction. Now, you're going to see videos about how lucky this is. But remember, this is water sign energy, which is about nurture. And Jupiter can be about faith, Venus can be about money, and of course, it can be about relationships. So if you've got a relationship where you're very aligned in terms of perhaps wanting to expand your family, decorate your home, refurbish it, move all together, or you're using your home as a hub, perhaps for a business venture, that's a really lovely, strong influence. But we need to be in touch with the emotion that these two are generating. And they're also in a little bit of a wider square with the position of Chiron in the first, in your sign in Aries, which just suggests that we need to keep a little bit grounded about the good news that Jupiter and Venus can bring. The other thing that caught my eye about this event chart is that Mercury is still in Cancer, just like it was last year, but is in a very tense right angle with Saturn. And that aspect, again, if you recall, we had that last year at the beginning of the journey. So once more, there's an echo of what we started with. So it's not going to be a panacea, but we do have at least Pluto now in a fabulous link with Uranus. And Uranus is really shaking things up, asking us to become much more aware that the world is changing, whether we like it or not. But we're much more used to that 1 year on. But the real knockout influence to share with you, Aries, comes on the 28th. Now, Mars, your ruler, is going to be speeding up that day and moving into the chatty Gemini. But just before it does, look at that sextile with Jupiter. And that's one of those aspects which can just see things fall into place just at the right time. So if we think back to the beginning of the journey, there was something you aspired to then that's just been slow, inhibited, lots of resistance, created lots of frustration. I feel a breakthrough can now come. And not least, Mercury having moved forwards and in that delicious conjunction with Jupiter, like it was at the start of the journey, but without uh, Saturn causing mischief. So that's really lovely indeed. So if you have been wanting some good news around a property matter, a family situation, maybe around that home-based business, maybe about your own personal growth inside of yourself. If you have gone through something of a challenge with Saturn and Neptune being in your 12th house at the same time before they moved into your sign, that probably brought up a lot of issues, a lot of things perhaps come into a close, and this now can give you some renewal, but particularly around that emotional dimension. I'm going to summarize those 4 areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next. But just to say, you can order your personal horoscope reports now and get 3 for the price of 1. They have been 30% off too for many years. I've reduced them because I realise people are feeling the cost of living increases. The one you pay for is your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand the patterns that play out in our lives, get a clearer understanding of what they are, and work with them better future forwards. Free, your 12 months transit forecast, but also your Draconic Soul Karmic analysis, which helps us to look at life, astrology, and ourselves in a very different way. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your June monthly forecast, that's on the screen. Your Chiron into Taurus 50-year return video on the screen. And if you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please see my testimonials below. It would be a pleasure. And if you've yet to sign up for your free daily written horoscope, fire to your device each morning for your early day celestial pit stop, please sign up for that below too. So to summarize, as far as your energy is concerned, I still think that you have to be very aware of what you're putting your time into. With Saturn and Neptune in your sign together, there are only so many hours in each day. And if you're getting scattered, then that obviously isn't so good. So do narrow your focus. As far as your professional situation is concerned, I think by the end of June, we are going to have a full moon on the 29th, and Mercury is going into a retrograde, which could make you think very carefully about your work-life balance. But of course, Jupiter then moves into your fellow fire sign of Leo. And you also have Venus on this event in a very strong link with Saturn. So by the end of this month, if you're working with people that you find you're comfortable with, they allow you to be yourself, you can share who you are, that's a good sign that you're in the right occupation. But if you are thinking about working for yourself or from home, I think the rest of June can be a really positive time for you. As far as your finances are concerned, having Mars, your ruler, in the second house of your situation through to the 28th of June is very welcome, but also Chiron coming into the second house on the 19th of June can also give you a push to really be more open to receiving goodness. And that's a very positive thing to work with. As far as relationships are concerned, I think all this Jupiterian energy is really pretty self-evident. If you feel that you can be truly yourself with someone, that's all you need to know. If you can't, however glamorous they are, however fanciable, however much you admire them, however well off they are, if you don't really feel comfortable about sharing your deeper thoughts, that's really the guiding principle. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Aries. All the best for the rest of June. Take care and see you again soon.